Hey guys, slight change this week. I'm gonna be taking over the Worldly Wise video. This is because I fell victim to a time warp a couple weeks ago. Thank you, Kirkman's Roundtable, for giving me the opportunity to do this. Very much appreciated. So yeah, your homework's gonna be two parts. Half the video itself, and the other half is enduring the sound of my voice. I'd say the second one's a little bit trickier. So, not to get too far off topic, let's just get into the words. The first word is archipelago. Archipelago means a large group of islands, a cluster of islands. It's pretty straightforward. For example, the Philippines, or the Maldives, or even Hawaii in this case. It's any landmass that's formed with multiple islands. Kareem. Careen is to rush headlong, often with a swerving or lurching motion. So let's say a boat is traveling straight forward and there's movement on the boat itself. It's going to start to careen. It's going to start to swerve, moving from one side to the other. Or if you're in a car and it's going extremely fast and the backside might lose balance or control and might start to swerve across the road. So that is another example. Next word is cavalier. Cavalier, in this case it means arrogant, but it also means like a gentleman or someone escorting a lady. But in this case it's arrogant, very proud, head held high, even if it's for an undeserving reason. So just very much like self-pride. Contiguous. Contiguous is sharing borders with or being in contact with, close proximity to. In this case, we can say Glendale is contiguous with Burbank, or the U.S. is contiguous with Mexico and Canada. Both places I'm pretty sure you might be considering moving to because of Trump. Correlate. Correlate means to connect two things or two or more things. They should be related in some way. So let's say we predicted what will happen in the game. You'd correlate your prediction with the outcome, and you're forming it into one idea. Or basically just bringing two similar topics into one idea. Etymology. Etymology is the history of a word. The actual history of where that word comes from. So, since we're an AP language, we can do the etymology of the word language. Language comes from the Latin word lingua, which meant tongue, physically tongue. Just like in Russian today, tongue is the same word for language. That's how it was in Latin. And then that was adopted into Old French. It was called language. And that's what we use today. So that's the etymology. It's the history of the word. Frenetic, I think that's how you say it. So we don't need this word because the word frantic exists and it's spelled almost the same. But we're trying to be educated, so we're going to use the word frenetic. It means frantic, basically. Very wild and energetic and excited, moving from one side to another, not knowing what to do with your energy. Like setting a deer loose in the middle of a highway. It's gonna act very frenetic. It's not gonna know what to do, how to move from one side to another. Or giving 100 presents to a child on Christmas Day, they're not gonna know what to do with themselves. They're gonna be very frenetic, moving from one side to another, not knowing what to do with their happiness, their energy, and yeah, basically it. Kinetic. Continuing on the idea of motion, kinetic, if you've studied physics before, you know the word. It's any motion that's being done. So, let's say a ball is rolling down the street. It's in kinetic motion. It's using the energy it had, and it's actually moving. It's in kinetic motion. Presage, to foretell or to warn. So Miss Patil, for example, presages the consequences of not shaving, to the guys at least. in most cases, mystery catches you, and then the rest of the story, Armin Dying can tell you. But it's, again, just predicting the future, not predicting, but like warning, telling what may happen, what may occur. The next word is pulverize. It's to crush into dust or powder, or to demolish or destroy. So let's say you're putting something into a food processor or a blender. It's gonna try at least to demolish it, to destroy it, to pulverize it into fine powder, or at least small bits. So yeah, just a destruction. Recondite. Recondite means difficult to understand. Abstruse. For example, rocket science is recondite to most people. It's not an easy concept to grasp. Or reading hieroglyphs. Again, it's recondite. It's not easy to learn. It's not easy to understand. Repulse. Repulse is to repel. To get disgusted, basically. For example, you're watching a horror movie and there's a gory scene, something very bloody. So you might, in that case, repulse. You're gonna get repelled, or you're gonna get disgusted. Yeah. So any manner of rejecting or repelling against something physical, or even just the idea. Seismic. Seismic, you've probably heard this when it comes to earthquakes. So it's having a powerful and widespread effect, or it's mainly used with earthquakes or natural disasters, having like widespread effects or unwanted outcomes. Undulate, I think that's how you say it. Undulate, to form or move in undulate waves, to make waves, basically. So let's say you're playing guitar. When you pluck a string, it might not show to the human eye, but if you slow it down, you'll see that it's making waves, it's forming waves. Or if you played mousetrap with a jump rope, and when you have to kind of make waves for the people to jump over, you're undulating, you're creating a wave-like motion or appearance. And the final word is upheaval. This is kind of going back to the idea of seismic. It's a radical change or a violent change. For example, turbulence can be an example of upheaval. Turbulence on a plane, you're having a smooth flight, and then the air pressure changes, and it causes the plane to move up and down, side to side, causing like this violent change. Or even a bill gets passed in Congress, let's say, and it's being used for a few months, and it's being successful for the most part. But then it gets it goes through upheaval. They're taking it out. It's not necessarily violent physically, but it's like just a swift motion of just getting rid of it. So yeah, these were the words for lesson 7. That's it. If there's any questions, you can ask Baron Armen. That's it for the most part, guys. Thank you, and have a good night.